All right, welcome back to episode 4 of Let's Be Blunt. I'm back with Terry Gray, one of the owners of High Fidelity. We're going to talk about some of the new products that we got in today. We're going to talk about the egg. The egg was finally found, and it's a long story, a funny story. Hopefully you guys get a laugh out of it. I know I did. I'll let Terry talk about that a little bit more in a second, but we're also going to talk a little bit about Champs. It is a glass show. It happens pretty much everywhere throughout the United States, but one of the biggest shows is in Vegas, and it's happening next year. They actually have the finals of the glass game, so it has, I think, roughly 15 to 20 artists, and they're all competing for check for $20,000, and also a feature on a magazine, a bunch of like glass material, and a bunch of other cool stuff. I've been watching these glass artists for a while, seeing all the prep that they've been doing. They have 14 hours when they land to do it, and they have to do it in front of everyone, so it's all live, so they can't hide any of their tricks, so we get to see it all. It's going to be pretty exciting to see. I'm excited to see who wins that as well. But let's get a little bit about product. I know a lot of people have been coming into the shop lately and sad that all they see is hemp edibles. And I know it's a bummer. There are 8 in testing right now. Hopefully I get all 8, but I do have 2 coming today. I have 2 live rosin hard candies coming. I have a passion fruit and a blue raspberry. I'm excited about the blue raspberry. My wife's excited about the passion fruit. So, it's something I hope to enjoy, and I hope you guys come and try and enjoy them as well. But I'll let Terry kind of take it away real quick about the egg.
The egg, I got to go back a little bit because Zach decided to partake before the episode. So he said next year, but the Champs is actually next month. It's actually next week. Yeah. So it's not next year, it's next week. And yeah, we're excited to be able to see that happen. The glass games is always fun. When Zach's referring to the egg, a couple episodes back, we talked about glass blowing. I don't know what we want to call it.
They're a collective. They're a group. They're led by Scott. I don't want to butcher his last name, but I think it's Depp or Depe. He is one of a kind. He pretty much pioneered the way for mothership, and now he has a studio, and he's taught his skills and technique to a collective of artists. So now they kind of produce these high-end glass rigs.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to participate in their egg hunt. They do it around Easter every year, and yeah, we were honored to be part of that. We put out clues on Instagram on a daily basis for a week straight, and the first hint we gave, we thought would lead people to a general area. I didn't even know where it was personally hid. I was told that it was hid in a certain park. That's all I knew. So my idea was just to get people to that park. After the first day, I believe it was the second day, we did another hint that would get people closer yet. And we had somebody message on Instagram that said, found it. And we looked at the person's profile, and it didn't sound like, based on his other posts, he hadn't posted since 2024. And so we kind of all got together and like, we don't think he found it, but we're going to try to message him and say, if you really found it, please send us a picture of the egg, and no response from him. So we just assumed it was a troll. We thought maybe it was one of the people who was looking for it, had a friend maybe they're like, let's use your account and we'll pretend it's found so nobody else looks for it. And so we had clues the next day. Finally, the last day, the clue made it really obvious where it was. And I went down to the park. I still had no idea where it was, but I went down to the park, and Zach and Don both hid the egg. And so they told me exactly where it was. So I knew the people at the park were looking exactly where it was supposed to be. And they were wading in the water. They were getting all dirty. They were looking for this egg, and I knew, so I finally, because everybody was grouped up there. There's a group of like maybe about 10 people. They're all looking for the egg because they all think it's in that spot, and there was no egg to be found, and so we're to the point of we go back to that gentleman who said he found the egg 2 days prior. And I message him. He has 11 followers, so I look for, go through all his followers. I'm trying to message them. None of them use Instagram either. They were kind of all the same thing. About 2-3 years ago, they were on Instagram. I'm messaging all of them, and no response. And so we're just assuming he found it and doesn't know what to do with it. And then he finally messaged Saturday. Was it Saturday, Zach?
Yeah, it was random too, and he was like, I'm pretty sure because he commented again. He was like, "Why does the egg have a butthole? Because it has a hole at the bottom." I was like, "This dude actually has it." I was like, "I didn't post a picture of the bottom of the egg." I was like, "The only way he would have known that is if he has the egg." Yeah. So he finally messages Terry.
Yep, he messaged and he said, "I have your egg." And I said, "Send me a picture." So he did send a picture of the egg, and he's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your scavenger hunt." And he's like, "I was down." I said, "So how did you find it?" He's like, "I was down by the river and I saw these turtles. So I went way close to the water and I was playing with the turtles. And I looked to my right and I saw a bag, and so I grabbed it." And that's what I knew. And he's like, "It took me forever to figure out how to tag you." He's like, because there was a note in there that told him to tag Mothership and to tag us. And he's like, and he said, "I felt so bad. So I was going back to the park and I wanted to tell people because I saw people hunting for the egg, but I was too embarrassed and I didn't want people to be mad at me for ruining the scavenger hunt. So I had every intention to tell people I have the egg, quit looking for the egg. But I didn't want anybody to be mad at me, so I didn't do it." So I was able to meet up with him on Saturday. He didn't want the egg. And he felt really bad about the whole situation. So we got the egg from him, and we'll probably do another hunt because we have a lot of people who are bummed they didn't find it. We had one group that did a good job of following the clues. Like, some of them were hard, and they deciphered them pretty well. And I know there's a couple people pretty bummed that that they worked so hard to find it, and some random found it and
without even looking at a clue.
Yeah, he had no idea there was even clues to look at, and he didn't even know how to use Instagram. But he definitely was apologetic, and he felt really bad. He's just a super cool guy. I'm glad it ended up how it did because I met a cool guy, and it's a funny story. So
yeah, it's a small world. It's a lot of people were looking for it too. I was kind of bummed because I got to hide it, but obviously I didn't get to participate. So when like day 4 and everyone was looking for it and it wasn't there, we thought it was washed away. So I was bummed because I was like, I went out of my way. You know, I messaged this artist, got the egg, had to do all this, do this work to get this egg, to do this event for the community, for it to be washed away. I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But then it finally came back. I was like, at least now we get to do something else for it. I'm not hiding it by a river. I learned my lesson, not putting it in some roots. We're going to do something fun with it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe like a tic-tac-toe tournament.
Yeah, anything maybe besides the river situation would be good. Because, yeah, because we had a huge rainstorm a few days in, so a lot of people are messaging like, "Oh, it got washed away." And then Don and Zach are like, "There's no way it washed away. We had it tied in the roots, so we knew that it wasn't washed away." But everybody had all these theories. So it was kind of interesting for sure.
I just didn't think the egg was ever going to be seen again. I was worried. I was like, the river has a nice looking egg in it now. It's funny, too, because he was looking for turtles, and turtles hatch out of an egg. He found one.
That's true. That's very true.
But, all right, that's enough about the egg. Let's get back into, I know someone asked, I think on episode 1 or 2, to dive in more about some rosin. So let's get into some concentrates. So there's a lot of different forms of extractions. A lot of people don't realize rosin is probably one of the most top tier ones. But a lot of people don't know what is what. People kind of go to the store and it's like seeing bread. You see wheat bread, you see honey wheat bread, you see white bread, and you think it's all the same because you could still make a sandwich out of it, but it's not. It's completely different. When you see shatters, you see crumbles and batters and stuff like that. That's used mainly with like a butane extraction. So you're adding a chemical to your plant to get all the trichomes off of it to, make a good enough yield for your concentrate. Now, when you do rosin, the only thing that touches it is water, ice, and then a bunch of spinning. And that's why it is a more prestigious wax, is because you don't get a lot of yield. Because when you extract with butane, you're getting a lot more yield than you would because you're freezing the trichomes off. Yeah, you're using ice with rosin, but that doesn't get it as cold. So you are knocking a lot of the trichomes off, and then you'll spray it out into what literally looks like ice cream. If you never watched a video of people making rosin, I highly suggest you YouTube it because it looks phenomenal. I tell everyone it's my favorite thing to watch. It just looks cool because they get a hose and it literally sprays out like ice cream. And then they put it into a freeze dryer, and then they pretty much freeze dry it, and then gets into the sand looking consistency. Then they scoop up the sand, and then they put it between some heat plates, and then that's what makes the live rosin. There's also ways of cold curing it, but and a bunch of other extraction methods, but I'll save that for another episode so we could kind of deep dive into it. I'll have a actual cultivator or extraction artist here instead of myself because I only consume. I don't make it myself, so they could probably get a little bit more in depth on the correct methods on extracting it more than I can. I just know kind of the base methods. And also one of the hard candies we are getting, the passion fruit and the blue raspberry, is going to be made with Concentrate Labs Super Boof live rosin. And a lot of people are going to walk in and see them. They're 50 milligrams. They are going to be priced the same as the 100 milligrams. And the main reasoning to that is you're getting a more prestigious form of wax. You're not getting distillate like you would be the gummies. You're going to get the live rosin, which is a more prestigious wax. It actually might have a more of a effect for you just because it is a more premium wax. And usually what I tell people is it tends to taste better. So you pay a little bit more, but you get a nicer wax. It's going to be the caviar of edibles is what I tell people. But Terry, let's talk a little bit more about Champs. Is there any artists that you're specifically out looking for? Any boosts here?
I don't think so in particular. I think it'll be exciting to see the glass games with all the heady glass, and it'll be one of our local glass blowers, Garner Glass. He's going to be there, his first time having a booth, so that'll be exciting to see him there as well. There'll be a lot of different artists that we already carry. There's Nico Cray, Ethan Windy. If you haven't seen our collection at the different stores, we do have now 4 locations where we do carry some high-end glass. You'll see a huge variety. I do see Terry Sharp's going to be back. That's exciting. I haven't seen him in a few years. It's always good to see him. There's all kinds of glass could be boned there during that week. So, yeah, but it says 24 artists. So that's exciting. $20,000 grand prize. So that's going to be very cool to see. They're all going to be on top of their game because this is the finals, and it will be the $20,000 grand prize to make the best piece.
Yeah, speaking of Ethan Windy, I know you actually have some paintings from him too. He's an artist of multiple art. He not only does glass art, he does phenomenal paintings, like killer, like oil paintings. Like he gets very, very in depth. I believe he's in a couple museums. I'll actually have to ask him about that again. And Terry Sharp, I know we have some of his pieces downtown Common Sense Herb and Legend from, I think it was the Glass of Fire, right?
Yeah, Tournament of Fire.
Tournament of Fire, yeah. I don't believe that's a tournament going on anymore, but I believe some of those were the winning pieces, and it's pretty rad to have them in the shop still. One of the people who are actually going to be producing out in Vegas, they're not. They're not. She's not going to be having in the competition, but her name is Sue Ellen Flowers. Phenomenal old lady. She is a pioneer of glass. She invented a lot of colors that a lot of glass artists use today, and it's so rad to see her actually make it live, because you get all this dust is what it looks like, and then you'll get a glass rod, you get it super hot, you dump it in there, and she just mixes it like magic, makes these phenomenal little hedgehogs. She calls them little spinner tops, and they literally spin. She does crazy dot work on marbles, crazy oil, perfume bottles as well. I absolutely love all of her work. Every single time I go to Champs, I instantly go to her booth, because a lot of people don't know her, but if you know, you know. So like her booth gets sold out faster than anything. So I always try to go there first, because I absolutely love her. I love all of her work. So it's always a great time to chat with her. And then also another artist who's not participating in the glass games, but he's going to be a judge, is Micro. He's going to be out at Texas. I love his scenes he does. I don't know if he does them anymore. I think he retired them, but he used to do like Mario scenes. So he did all the Mario Millies, and if you look at his glass, it would literally look like pictures from the video game, but it's out of glass. I know he pivoted away from that and was doing jaguars and other live animals for a little bit. And a cool fun fact about him is he also does like dune racing and like the cars. So that's pretty cool. He posted one of those. I was like, no way. I'd love to do that one time, get in some sand and just ride it in a ATV. But yeah, a bunch of new stuff coming in. I know we have new flour coming in. And then we have new edibles coming in. I have they're only low potency drinks, but I have a bunch new drinks coming in. I know drinks have been very popular. Everyone loves to, sip and chill, so that's always phenomenal. I have just a bunch of new products coming in. I'm glad everyone has been enjoying the time of us being open. I just always have the overwhelming positivity from people walking into the store. So it always makes me, clock out happy knowing that we have such a positive impact on the community, and the community has a positive impact on us.
Yeah, and about the flour, Zach, I think it's new flour that's coming in, correct? Flour we haven't had before?
Yep. So we do have it in some pre-rolls right now, which is, if you don't know, we have like 27 pre-rolls right now, which is insane. We went from literally 1 to 3 to 27 in literally a snap of a second. But yeah, Sean Weber, he's a fantastic guy out of Redwood. Redwood County Weed Management is going to be some of our new flower we're getting. I have, I think, roughly 8 to 10 more strains coming, and for the first time ever, I have a sevens. So we only had 4 grams, 3 5s, and then half ounce in the pre-packs. Now we will have some 7 grams in the pre-packs. You can always get the 7 grams in the deli style, but this is the first time we'll have it on the shelf in pre-packed straight from the farm.
And with the flour, are we having any sativas? I know people are waiting on sativas, Zach. Are you going to disappoint this week?
Sadly, I am. I think I might have 2 that are going to be a 70-30 sativa. I got a couple more hybrids and a handful of more indicas. I have talked to 3 cultivators. They are doing some straight sativa runs for us. So that is the good news, is they are on the horizon. I know the sativa section is very lacking. I don't know why Minnesota doesn't like the uppers. They like the indicas. But I promise they are on the way.
Is that a normal thing? Is that like you go to another state, like when we're going to be in Las Vegas next week? if you go to a dispensary there, is it going to be equal, the same amount of sativas, same amount of indicas, same amount of hybrids? Is it just kind of weird in Minnesota that everybody's focusing on
Yeah,
indica?
honestly, it usually is more like, spread throughout because people like to hit, the market and all the clienteles. But I think all the cultivators in Minnesota are thinking everyone wants the indicas because they are the ones that have what I call the hardest punch to them because they're sedative. So people think when, they're closing their eyes because they're smoking and they're getting high, that it's better than them smoking and wanting to clean the room. They don't think that's as strong as something like that, where they're completely wrong. I love sativas. I stay up playing video games till like 3 in the morning on them. It's fantastic highs. So I am very excited for Minnesota cultivators to be bringing more sativas to the market, which I feel like some of the indicas that we do have might even be mislabeled. One of the slurry cane pre-rolls that we have, I know it is a lower THC percent. It's only a 10.5, but it's supposed to be solid indica. I tell people it's more hybrid. It's more of a mellow chill than a lot of the hybrids that I smoke. So it really also really does depend on the terpenes. So yeah, ask your bud tender what terps are in the buds. That's the driving factor.
And with that, for you, it does a certain thing. For another consumer, would it be do something completely different, or is that not the case in cannabis?
It is the case. Like one bud might be phenomenal for me, and it might not do anything to someone else. But the only way you could know that is if, and I hate to say it, it's like Pokemon. You gotta get them all. You have to try them all to see which one works the best for you. But if there is something you found that it's worked. Like a lot of people love the Donny burger. I tell them don't get anything else. Get that until the brakes fall off. Until it doesn't work for you, just keep going with it. Because a lot of people don't realize that weed is a crop. So if we sell out of it, I might not be able to get Donny Burger back in next harvest. It might be 3 or 4 harvests till it's come back in. So if you do find a bud that you absolutely love, like for me, I love the Trop Cherry, I love the Rosanna. Every single time I get something, I'm gonna get those every single time because we didn't have Trop Cherry for 2 months because the first time we got it in, it was in the half ounce. I instantly got one in the half ounce. We sold out of it, and then we didn't have it till just like a week ago. So it was something I've learned to know myself now. Like if we have it and I enjoy it, make sure I grab it because it might not be there the next time.
And when it does come back, we've noticed that the THC levels are completely different. So you can get the one crop might be really good, high THC level, and it might be just as good, but it will have a low THC level, which kind of throws people off. They're like, well, I got this last week, and it was different THC levels.
Yep,
so.
like the Rosanna, one of my favorite strains. Our first harvest, we got it. It was, I believe, a 27. Now it's a 24.5. It is a crop, so there are going to be factors. So always ask the THC. You could always, best thing too, ask the test date. When was it tested? How fresh is it? A lot of people think prepackaged bud means it's worse than the deli style, but not the case. Some of my deli styles is a little bit older than my prepackaged. So it's there's so many factors that you really need to learn and dial in before you could make a clear judgment on a bud too.
And one thing in Minnesota they have to be cautious of is we don't know the length of testing time. So we could have a product come in that only took 5 to 10 days to get tested, and the expiration date is based on that test date, where another product might have been in the backlog and might have taken 4 months. And so your product that is expiring sooner might be a lot fresher than the product that's going to be expiring later. So that's kind of throws things off in Minnesota as well because they base, tell me if I'm wrong, Zach, but I think they base the expiration date based on the testing date, not when it was submitted to testing.
Yep. So it's 6 months after the testing date. So it could have been submitted last November, but just got tested last week compared to one that got that had a priority testing and was, harvested in January, tested in January. But since it was tested in January, it still will expire before the crop that was tested in November. So it's very weird. I'm excited now that there are more labs to throttle some products through, so hopefully we won't have transparencies like that. We'll have fresher product all the time. So it's a lot of huge variables that you really have to ask, and that's why I tell people I love going into shops like us, because you could ask your bud tenders these questions. It's not like you're walking into a kiosk and you're doing your order and then you don't get to talk to someone till you handle money. You could ask the bud tender how this was. How did it affect you? How did it burn? Was it a little bit drier? Because I tell people the trop cherry, when you grind it up, it is a little bit more on the drier side than the Rosanna, but I love them both equally. So there's just a lot of answers that your bud tender could actually give you if you ask the question. And I tell people, no question is dumb. I'm here to answer your questions till the moment I clock out. So regardless, if you want to call it in, message it in, I'm here for it. So
Perfect. So exciting things to look forward to is today the hard candies. Wednesday is we're recording. Yeah, so not. Today.
So we'll have the hard candies and we'll have the flour all for you hopefully today out on the shelves.
Correct. We'll just say that we record on Mondays, gets produced, and then it lands on Wednesdays at 4:20. So if you're excited for the next episode, Wednesdays, 4:20, and then if you follow Star Media, they always post it the next day, which is Thursdays. So they post it Thursdays, but it is on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify Wednesdays at 4:20.
Yeah, and we do have a new Facebook up, so if you want to give us a shout, it's at High Fidelity, right?
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, I'd love to, have you tag along and join us for this journey. We're glad to be here. We're glad for you to be here, and we're excited for the road and everything for this year. Let's Be Blunt is recorded at Star Media Podcasting Suite in downtown Laverne, Minnesota. If you'd like more information about renting the suite, contact Star Media. See our show notes for more details.